Good morning. Happy Thursday. Oh gosh, you guys, that's the kind of week it's been. I'm like, what day are we on? It's Thursday. So this is just a job search career Q&A. If you have career related questions, please put them in the chat. I would be happy to answer those for you. We'll see who shows up today because I did not do a great job of promoting this. I'll just be honest. But wanted to come on and just say hello, let you know that I have a webinar that I'm doing 3 more times over the next week and a half. So you can join me for that webinar. It's 4 steps to your strategic job search. Definitely should be there. You can register for it at the link in the description box below. But like I said, this is a career Q&A. So if you have questions, feel free to come on and ask your questions. I would love to help you out with that. And we'll see if anyone joins this morning. Maybe we didn't need to do this today. We'll see. So yes, if you have a question, come on and join. While we're waiting for some more people to come on, I would like to let you know that holiday beverages are out at Starbucks. I was trying to get that the right way. Holiday beverages are out at Starbucks. This is the sugar cookie latte. And it was bought for me by Elle. So first off, Elle, great name, because like Elle Woods, one of the greatest cinematic heroes of our time. But Elle bought me this coffee because she used my link below, buy me a coffee. If I've ever helped you in any way and you want to say thank you, you know I love a nice coffee. So feel free to go down below, hit buy me a coffee, and look, y'all, I really do it. I go buy the coffee. So if you have questions, put them in the chat. I see a couple more people have joined. Hello. Feel free to just ask your career job search related questions there. One thing I wanted to talk about just while I wait for some questions to come in, let's talk interview for a second. I did 2 practice interviews yesterday with clients, which by the way, you can do, this isn't like shameless plug time, but if you didn't know, you can book me for a practice interview one-on-one. And I was doing those yesterday. And with both candidates, we talked about how it is a conversation and you're allowed to ask questions. And this is something like during the interview, if something's too vague, you can ask a clarifying question. That's okay. If something is, or if you're going down a certain road and you're like, I don't know, is that what you're looking for? You're allowed to stop and say that. I did not know that for the longest time. Like I've given this example in videos, but I have a friend who asks in interviews, or he'll say, tell me how to make eggs. And if the person goes straight into how they would make eggs, they're out because they should be asking clarifying questions like, where are we? How do you like your eggs? Do I have other ingredients? You know, do you like asking different things about it? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have been out because I didn't know you were allowed to ask questions. I would have just thought, oh, I'm supposed to just answer what they gave me. And so here is my answer. I had no idea that, phone's on, sorry. I had no idea that you could ask for more information and that you were actually supposed to ask for more information. So that's just my tip for you today. Don't be afraid to ask them for more info. If something is a very generic question or very broad, don't be afraid to ask some clarifying questions. And with that, it's going to feel like more of a conversation because it's not just, then it won't just be this one way they ask you answer. So I see some people are here, but I haven't seen any questions come in. So if you have questions, make sure to, oops, that's not what I needed. Make sure to put them in the chat. And then I mentioned it already, but there is a live webinar I'm doing 3 more times over the next week and a half, something like that. Yeah, week. It's 4 steps to your strategic job search. You can get it at the link I am putting in the chat and in the description box below. In that, I go over the 4 steps that will simplify your job search. We just focus on these 4 things. You stay focused on them, and we'll get a job at the end, but we'll talk about um, what's important and what's not as important, where to be spending your time. It's a really good workshop. I highly recommend you come join me for it. And it's live. You can ask questions there as well. So, y'all, I see some of you are here. Thanks for stopping by. But if you have a question, put it in the chat. I'm going to switch over and see if maybe for some reason I'm just not seeing, or maybe I'll just don't have questions this morning and we just got together to have a coffee for a minute. Let's see. Riveting, I know, to just see me here. Nope, I'm not wrong. There's nothing in the chat on that side either. Okay. So this might be really quick. If I don't have questions, there's no point in us like just sitting here for a while. So maybe it's just one of those days. If y'all have a question, feel free to put it up there. I know there's always a delay, so I'll give it a second. I'll take some more of my iced sugar cookie latte. There we go. Takita, thank you. Takita, I apologize. I am probably butchering your name. I apologize. I have an interview Monday, and it is a job I really want. I match all the qualifications, but I feel very nervous because I feel qualified. I don't want to be too confident. Got it. Okay. So is the question, I'm guessing the question is like how to fix that? How to move past that? I would say this sounds so obvious. Just prepare. Be prepared, based off the job description. What kinds of things are they going to ask? Really, the problem sometimes when we are qualified is, and I mean, when we're like hopefully you're qualified, when you're a really, really good match, is that you think you don't need to prepare because you're like, oh, I can talk about this job. I do this job. I can do this thing. I had a client recently who did this. It was like, no, I've done this. Like, I can talk about this. Well, you're used to talking about what you do a very specific way. You're used, most of the time, most of us are used to talking about our jobs in a specific way. And yet when you get in an interview, they often want the why behind it, the methodology behind it, like different things than the way you're used to talking about it. And so practicing is really important to make sure that you're used to talking about the job from different aspects. So go through those questions or those qualifications in the job description and make sure you've got a STAR method story for each one. It can be the same experience, but looking at it from different angles, and make sure you're practicing saying that out loud. We think it's going to come naturally. It does not always. So make sure you're practicing saying it out loud. And then remember, if you're just delivering what you've done, we're not being overly confident. A lot of times too confident comes off in the like trying too hard. Like I one time came off as too confident, and in my head I thought, oh, I was just trying to prove to them, like, look at what I've done. I've helped that person. I did this thing, and I like overdid it. So instead, just make sure that you're answering what they ask you at hand and give a thorough answer. I did this piece of the project. We did this thing together. I did this. Make sure you're being just very directive. These are the things I did. This is how the project turned out. Or this is how the experience happened. Or this is how this unfolded. Because that's what's going to help you show them that like you're not overly confident. Okay? Are there any other questions? It's just a quiet morning. I get it, y'all. I've hit that point in my week. It's only the beginning of the month too, but here we are going, okay. If there are no other questions, I'm going to shut down the live stream. Maybe it's just a quiet morning. For those who were here this morning, thanks for being here. Make sure to join the webinar. I'm doing it Saturday morning, Tuesday night, Thursday of next week. So come to one of those free live sessions. I hope to see you there. There will be Q&A at those as well, but it has to be over the things we talk about on that webinar, but there will be Q&A there as well. Oh, now everything came in. Okay. Woo, we were just about to shut it down, y'all. Okay. Stephanie was next. Any guidance for getting a company to hire me for a role that I don't have direct experience in? I'm an RN case manager wanting to, I think that was supposed to say, shift into senior living sales. The biggest thing, Stephanie, is going to be showing transferable skills. You don't have to have direct experience, but you have to show transferable skills. So be thinking about what you've done as a case manager that works towards senior living. And even just experiences of like, as an RN case manager, you probably worked with, now I'm seeing where you wrote, no, it said shift. As an RN case manager, you probably worked with the elderly. Talk about how you know the client, that like in a cover letter, you can talk about how you know that clientele, and then really focus on the transferable skills and examples of having them. Because what people love to do is just go like, oh, I can talk to people, like prove it to me. So be thinking about that. That would be the quickest way. Delilah just wanted to say thanks. You're welcome. Carol was on the webinar yesterday, I believe. Let me see. I had an interview about 8 months ago that went really well, but I fumbled on the salary discussion. I suspect that's why I didn't get the job offer, but I'm not completely sure. Can't stop thinking about this job and would love to keep in touch with the organization in case there are future openings. How do I do this without being stalkerish? You're not on LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn. We can't be you're definitely not stalkerish if you're not on LinkedIn. The way I would look at it is, well, first off, let's go to the first part. You suspect it's because about the salary discussion. I wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe that is what it was, but you don't know. You have no idea. So I wouldn't worry about it. This is what, and we all do this, Carol, so I'm not judging you on it, but we all sit there and spin on that job that we didn't get, that we got close to. I'm like, oh, I should have done this. Oh, it was because of this. Oh, it was when I said that thing. We don't know. We got to move on. But to stay in touch with this company, I mean, it's been 8 months. Have you been in touch with the company? If you haven't been in touch, reaching out now is not stalkerish. I always say, like, once every couple of months, I would follow up with that recruiter. Hey, just wanted to let you know I'm still looking. And I understand that I wasn't a good fit for that position, but I would love to be in touch. If anything else comes up, or if you see anything that aligns with my skills, I would love to discuss those positions with you. Or if you see something come up, reach out to them and say, hey, I saw this position just came up. I know last time it didn't work out, but I would love to be considered for this role. Like, just reach out that way every couple of months, but you need to get on LinkedIn. Sorry, you just got to. Mari, do I have any advice for staying after a seasonal job? So I'm trying to think. We could go about this from a couple of different angles. Number one, this is going to sound super obvious, but people don't do it. Just do a really good job, even though you're seasonal. So show up a couple minutes early, stay a couple minutes late. Don't be slacking off during work. Tell them you're excited to be there. Do a great job so that if there are still openings after the seasonal position is done, they think of you. I would also be telling them, hey, if anything, not on your first day, but like after a couple of weeks, hey, if there are any other, opportunities to stay on after the season's over, I just wanted to let you know I would love to stay. So I would do those two things. Then know that sometimes it's just not possible. So if for some reason it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean it's you. It means they do not have the money to bring you on. Now, the thing I'm thinking is, companies are so desperate for help right now. I mean, I can go to 3 grocery stores down the street and they're doing on the spot hiring, right? You fill out the application, you say a couple words, and they're like, you're here. So I have a feeling you have pretty good, depending on what the company is, you have pretty good odds of staying on after. That's my guess. Um, Stephanie said she asked the question, hard question. I like that you called it the really hard question. You guys, it doesn't have to be that hard. And you said they were surprised, but you're glad you asked. You think they were impressed. Good. Ms. Said, I'm employed at a temp agency that places me in undesirable jobs. I don't enjoy the work they provide, but I desperately need weekly pay work. Should I leave this agency for another? I wouldn't leave because, like you said, you need paid work. So I wouldn't leave, but I would start, like, when you're home, use your downtime to start signing up with other agencies. No one says with agency work, you don't normally sign a like an exclusive or yeah, or a non-compete or something. So I would sign up with another agency and see if they can get you better work. That's how I would go about it. I would also have a discussion, and it sounds like maybe you already have. I would have a discussion with your recruiter at this staffing agency about the type of work that you're getting. Why is that the work they're aligning you with? Are there other opportunities that are better aligned for you? Like, have the conversation. That's the nice part to me with agencies is it feels like you're in a lot more control to have those conversations because this person is sort of working for you. It's in their best interest to have you in the right job. It's not like talking to a boss where you're scared that, like, oh, if I tell them I want this thing, they could fire me or they could think badly of me or whatever. Like, it has a different connotation to it. So I would have an open conversation too. Um, Mari, yeah, you're seasonal at JC Penney. Yeah, I have a feeling you can stay after, but here's what I would say. I still say wait a couple weeks before you have that conversation. Make sure you actually like it there. Make sure it's not a toxic department. Um, learn a little bit more before you're saying, "Hey, I want to stay on." So wait a couple weeks, do a good job, and then ask. Okay. Oh, Jonathan, this is a great question. Any specific advice for internal interviews? Do you treat them differently to external ones at all? So I'm trying to think through how I want to say this. I think internal interviews are the hardest interviews you could possibly do because it's easy to assume that you and the other people are already on the same page. That you can just say, like that you can shorthand things. Or the other thing I've seen people do is they interview internally, and when there's a tell me about a time question, that everyone in the room is going, okay, they're going to have the perfect example because I remember when they went through a time having to work with so and so and blah, blah, blah. And then the the candidate will instead talk about the job 10 years ago because they feel like they can't use what's going on now. Use the examples from the current position if they're what ties to the internal job or this new internal position. So don't shorthand things. Don't assume that, like, oh, because we all know each other, I don't have to walk through all the steps. And then don't think or assume that you can't use experiences from your current position to show why you're in good alignment for this new position. So it's almost more that no, they're not treated differently. Remember that. You still have to walk through all the steps. You still need to give the best example to the job. Because even more so than being interviewed at a different company, they're probably trying to confirm what they already think about you and why they already think you're a good fit. And so you need to give them the right answers to confirm that for them, right? You need to tell them the examples that make sense for this job, and if those are aligned with what you do now, use those. So that's one thing is that I see as a big mistake that a lot of people make is they go for some off the wall example because they're like, oh, well, they already know about this time and this time and this time. So let me tell about this other time that they don't know about. No, no, no. Tell them the story you think they already were there and experienced. Cynthia, I realized I missed you. Sorry. What are some general tips uh, as a solid candidate or to position myself as a solid candidate, apply for an internal job at my current company? Okay, so we've got a lot of internals today. Um, so for applying for those, I mean, it's going to sound really obvious. Like, have you had experiences that align you to be a good candidate for this new internal position? Are you have you had a conversation with your supervisor or your boss that this is something you're interested in? If it's crossing departments, have you networked and met the people in that department? Do they know about your work? Have you worked together before? I would be making sure I know people in that department so that I align. Um, I would also be making sure that my supervisor knows so that they're not surprised. Or if it's in the same department, you want to move up, let them know. Don't just apply, let them know. That's going to be really helpful. And then, like I said, really making sure that you're aligning yourself to the skills of this new position. And if you don't have those skills yet, how can you get them? So, um, a friend and I, when we were in a career center, we knew to move up, we needed management experience. And it was like, well, but it's kind of like it's the whole catch 22, right? Of how do you get that experience without having that experience? But we were starting a student ambassador program. And so we both said, can we be in charge of that program? Like, we didn't get paid extra for it. There was no stipend or anything, but we got to run and manage this group of students. And while it's students and not employees, now we could say we have management experience. And so, are there ways that you can start looking at how can I get the experiences that I don't have so that I'm a better fit when this position opens up again? So, those are some things I would think about. Um, that I think is where we're going to have to close it off for today. Again, thank you to Elle for buying me my holiday sugar cookie latte. If my answers have helped you, if my videos have helped you, if you want to say thanks, I would love for you to buy me a coffee. You know, I love iced coffee. You can get the link to buy, it's literally called Buy Me a Coffee. You can get to the link to it down below, and I might, give you a shout out on the next live stream. Also, make sure that you sign up for the live webinar, 4 steps to your strategic job search. The link I just put in the chat, and it's in the description box below. I'm doing that 3 more times over the next week, and I would love to see you there. Let's get your job search away from overwhelm and streamlined so that you can get a job faster. Okay. So with that, thank you all for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.